Now, the basic thing is all of you have close to 3 days left for the prelims, right? You should be focusing on the elimination techniques. Okay, that's the most important thing here, because in these 3 days, let's say, for example, you are scoring 80 a week. In these 3 days, even if you spend like 24 hours in a day, and if you actually study all the micro themes, be it whatever you do, content के side पे है ना, इतना marks आपको नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है? The one thing you have to do in these last 3 days is to master the elimination, and you have to solve the PYQs at least from 2023 to 2025. You have to do the same. Okay. So whatever I'm going to say here, you have to practice it for the last 3 years of PYQ. Only for the GS side, I'm not going to be saying anything regarding the CSAT side. Okay, everyone. Now let's start the same. So you will see the same slides here. As you can see, it's the first session. Okay. Now disclaimer, let me tell you, there is no magic wand here or something. Most of the logic is something that you must have already heard about the same. Okay. Now there are, in my opinion, 4 levels of different elimination techniques. The first one is a very basic thing, is to identify all the general specific statements, and you go with the principle of positivity. The second level, on the basis of difficulty, I have assigned it here. Okay, the first level is something very easy that all of you know. The second level is where when we go with the identical statements, we go with the specific statements, what do you do with the database questions, and also you go with what should you do when the word steadily comes, primarily comes, mainly comes, subjectives. And the level 3 is where the difficulty level improves a bit, and wherein you do word deconstruction. Let's say, for example, when a term-based question comes, what do you do? And the second one is wherein you deal with the headings in the extreme statements and everything. And the final one is where you go with content with the logic. Final one is the hardest one. Okay. Now, let me also tell you that prelims is all about a game of words. Okay. If you actually understand why UPSC introduces each and every word, why have UPSC introduced the word several here, or the word mainly, or the word primarily here, the paper becomes very easy. Okay. It's for the fact that close to 90% of the aspirants treat prelims as a sense of factual knowledge. UPSC is only testing my factual things. The prelims is getting harder and harder, or you think the prelims is getting harder. Yes, okay. Prelims is only about a game of words. It's about how you manage the pressure, and it's all about being decisive. So if you understand each and every words why UPSC have introduced the same, then the game becomes very easy, and that is what I'll be focusing on here. Okay. Now there are basically 2 types of words in UPSC. Okay, something that all of you knows. The first one is the general words. And what are the general words? The general words can be divided into can, may, some, might, generally, usually, and everything. And also we have these certain extreme words as well in UPSC, right? Such as the all, every, none, no, primarily, mainly, significantly, extremely, literally, steadily, and consistently. So let me tell you that always treat the statements as neutral. Whenever UPSC provides a statement, treat it as neutral. Whenever the statements are these general words, can, may, some, might, generally, usually, and everything, even if you don't know anything regarding the same, what should you do? You should be taking it as positive, or you should be taking it as correct. And whenever UPSC introduces certain extreme words such as all, every, and all the different words which I have mentioned here, or you can see here, and if you don't know anything regarding the same, treat them as incorrect. Okay, so 2 kinds of words. One is the general words, and the other is the extreme words. If you don't know anything regarding the same, treat them accordingly. If it's general words, treat them as positive, and if you have extreme words, treat them as incorrect. Okay, there are certain different layers to the same. We'll be diving deeper into the same. Right. Now let's talk about the basic difference here. The Supreme Court must give its opinion under the advisory jurisdiction under Article 143. And the second statement says Supreme Court may give its jurisdiction under the article under its advisory jurisdiction. Now, which statement here is correct and incorrect? Everyone, you can say here. Is 1 correct, or is it 2 correct? The Supreme Court must give its opinion under the advisory jurisdiction under Article 143 is incorrect, for the fact that here the word must is introduced, right? And the second statement the word may, which is more of a general word here, is introduced, which make the statement correct. So you understand that whenever UPSC changes a word or tweaks a word a bit, the whole statement becomes correct or incorrect, right? So that is why understanding the game is all about, or cracking the prelims as a game is all about understanding different word meanings, right? Now, going with the first logic here. Now, first of all, let me tell you that I won't be sharing the slides. Okay. So you should be making notes regarding the same, because for no reason I'll be sharing the slides. Okay. Now, what are general and specific statements? I'll just quickly go through same 2 types of statements. The one we call it as the general statements, and the other one we call it as the specific statements. Now, what do you mean by general statements? General statements are those statements in which the facts are not provided. Now, when do we say that a question, when do we say that a statement is incorrect? When we are able to counter the fact, right? Let's say, for example, Mahatma Gandhi was born in Maharashtra. Now you have a fact here, which is Maharashtra, and you are able to counter the same and say that, no, it's not Maharashtra, Gandhi is in Gujarat. Gandhi was born in Gujarat. Now let's say, for example, there is no fact in the same. Now, how do you counter the same if there is no fact here, right? So general statements are mostly those statements in which facts are not there. Since facts are not there, you are not able to counter the same. So therefore, you should be treating it as positive, right? So countering possibilities are not there. So therefore, you should be treating it as true and positive. Now, what are the general statements? These are the general statements, right? Its use cause sulfur emissions into the environment. Now, can you say that when we burn furnace oil, there won't be even 0.1% of sulfur emissions? At least 0.1% will be there, right? Can you say that palm oil as a raw material is not even used by any industry in China or any industry in North Korea or any industry in Kerala or India or something? At least 0.1% will be there, right? Can you say that palm oil cannot be used in the future, maybe after 1,000,000 years or maybe after 2,000 years, palm oil cannot be used to produce biodiesel? No. So these are basically general words here, which does not have any fact here, and therefore all the statements will always be positive. Okay. So here, UPSC can never say that it does not produce even 0.1% of sulfur emissions. Here, UPSC can never say that palm oil will not be used anywhere in the world, maybe in North Korea. How can UPSC say that? North Korea, does UPSC have access to North Korea? No, right? No one has access. Can UPSC say that after 2,000,000 years or maybe after 2,000 years, palm oil will not be used to produce biodiesel? So these are the different logics that you have to apply. So whenever any facts are not there, you should be treating it as positive, right? How many of the above spread diseases? Maybe all of the above spread diseases. How can UPSC say that they don't even spread diseases by 0.1%? Which of the above are released into the atmosphere? Can UPSC say that not even 0.0001% of all of these are not released? Definitely not, right? At least it will be there. Can. All of them are correct. Global warming might trigger. Carbon sequestration is possible. So these are the things. Now, what is the basic logic? Whenever you see a statement which has can, may, might, and all these different general words, you have to think with respect to the three aspects. The first one is we think with respect to geographical aspects, right? So how can UPSC say that this is not used in North Korea, tribes in Amazon, or a village in China? And the second one is you think about the quantity basis. How can UPSC say that not even 0.001% is not there? UPSC can never prove the same, right? Always think whether how can UPSC prove the same. And the second one is the future-based approach which we go. How can UPSC say that this is not possible even after 2,000,000 years or maybe after 2,000 years? So always remember, you have to channelize your thought process into three things. The first one is a geographical approach. The second one is a quantity-based approach. And the third one is the future-based approach. Everyone clear? Now, let's say, for example, here, it can be used directly as a fuel for internal combustion. It can be blended into natural gas. It can be used in the hydrogen-based approach. Now, what should be the thought process here? Which among the logic should you use? Should you go for the geographical approach, quantity-based approach, or should you go for the future-based approach here? You should be going with the, everyone, all of you can comment. You should be going with the future-based approach, right? Because UPSC can never say that not even 1% will not be there. Sorry, future pin possible nahi hai, right? So what about here? Monazite is a source of rare earth. Monazite contains thorium. What will be the logic here? At least, what will be there? Anyone? It's not a future-based approach here in this question. What should be the logic here? You should be going with the quantity-based approach, right? So at least 0.001% will be there, right? Not even a single gram will not be there. Obviously, it will be there. What about this one? India exports tamarind and seeds of moringa. And second one, seeds of moringa can be used in the production of biofuels. Now, there are two different logics here. You can say, fourth statement pe kya hai or fifth statement pe bhi kya hai. So what is the logic here? Fourth statement pe it will be quantity, and second statement pe it will be future-based approach, right? Good. So can UPSC say that not even a single gram of tamarind is not exported by India? No. Can UPSC say that not even after 1,000,000 years, not even this is possible? Obviously, this is possible, right? So these are the three different approaches, okay? Now, the important question here is, how does UPSC go against our 1% logic? Now, let me tell you, UPSC goes against this above 1% logic by introducing certain extreme words. Because when extreme words are introduced, we cannot apply the 1% logic. I'll show you some examples regarding the same. Now, let's say the first general statement here is its use cause sulfur emissions into the environment, right? And we say the logic that at least 0.001% will be there. Now, what about this one? Can we use the 1% logic here? They may release lethal quantities of carbon monoxide into environment. Can we use our 1% logic here, Abhi? Yeah, possible? No. Now, why is this not possible? For the fact that UPSC have introduced the word lethal. Now, UPSC can say that copper smelting plants does not release lethal quantities of carbon monoxide into the environment, right? UPSC can say that, right? What does UPSC cannot say? UPSC cannot say that at least 0.001% carbon monoxide to hogi. But UPSC can never say that. But UPSC can say that lethal quantities of carbon monoxide will not be released in the environment, right? So how does UPSC make a general statement into incorrect or extreme? UPSC introduces certain extreme words such as lethal. Okay. So here, this is a general statement. Now, how did UPSC make it extreme? General statement was made into extreme by introduction of an extreme word called as lethal. Okay. And this statement was incorrect because carbon monoxide is not released by copper smelting plants. But UPSC cannot say that because at least 0.01% will be there. That's why in order to eliminate our 1% logic, UPSC introduces the word lethal and made it incorrect. Now here as well, it aims to enable it enables the poor people to meet their water needs without depending on subsidies. More of a very general objective, right? Here also it's more of a very general objective. Now, how does UPSC turn the general objective into more of an extreme objective? Now, in this statement, can you say that the objective is general or a bit specific or a bit extreme? Now, I'm not going to be taking any doubts here. Okay. Now, can you say that this is more of a general statement, Abhi? And no, because the word main focus is here, right? So what does UPSC usually turn the objectives into extreme? UPSC introduces certain extreme words such as main, specific, special, or certain extreme words. Okay. Now here you can see here that it aims to enable, which is more of a general option. UPSC have turned it extreme by introducing the word main. Because UPSC can say that the main function of a particular organization is not this, right? Maybe it's one of the function. Okay, maybe it can be one of the function. Maybe they donate maybe 10 rupees or 20 rupees. But UPSC knows that it is not the main function of an organization. So the objective has been made into extreme by introduction of the word main here. Okay. Now let's say, for example, in these type of questions, can UPSC say that not even 0.1% of any of the products are not released by volcanic eruptions? At least this will 1% will be there, 1% will be there, 1% will be there, 1% will be there, right? Which of the above can be used as a feedstock? Can UPSC say that this cannot be used, this cannot be used, this cannot be used, this cannot be used? No, for the fact that here our 1% logic will apply, right? So these are mostly general words. But what if UPSC introduces certain extreme words such as actively associated, or which of the following lakes have shrunk immensely or dried up? Now, can you use your 1% logic a bit? Can you say that maybe Barindra Ghosh is associated with Gadar party? Maybe Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee is associated with Gadar party. Okay, maybe Black Sea might have shrunk by at least 1 centimeter. Maybe Lake Baikal have been shrunk by 1 centimeter. Can we use our logic here? No, we cannot apply our logic here for the fact that UPSC have introduced shrunk immensely or dried up or actively associated. If the word actively associated is introduced, then the person should be actively associated. That means that either he should be a leader or he must have been a founder. Okay, so therefore Raj Bihari Bose will be the answer. Here, how many of the, if the question was how many of the lakes have shrunk in the recent past, then we can say that how can UPSC say that the Black Sea has not even shrunk by 1 centimeter? How can Lake Baikal has not been shrunk by 1 centimeter, right? But since the word immensely or dried up is introduced, we cannot use our 1% logic here. So always understand that whenever UPSC introduces certain extreme words, maybe or maybe all of the above may not be the answer. Okay. Maybe UPSC wanted to eliminate at least one of the options. Okay. So general words have been turned into extreme by introduction of extreme words in the headings. Clear? So if UPSC wanted to make here all of the error, they would have asked the question in this manner. How many of the above have shrunk in the recent past? And not how many of the above have shrunk immensely or dried up in the recent past. Okay. Now, what about this one? What did UPSC introduce here? Can we use our future-based logic here? Everyone? Can we apply our future-based logic here? No. Why can't we apply our future-based logic? Because we cannot apply here that because UPSC have introduced a restriction here, right? UPSC have introduced the word near here. Now, when the word near here near is introduced, can we apply our future-based logic such as after 1 million years or after 2000 years? No. It has to be in the near future. And in the near future, is it possible for transferring matter from one point to another? It's not possible in the near future, right? Maybe near means matlab 5 years or 10 years. It's not possible, right? So that's why this is incorrect. If the word near was not there, maybe it would have been possible. Okay. So you can't use a future approach here as UPSC introduced a restriction here and the restriction was near. It has to be in the upcoming 1 to 5 years. Now, what if the question here was mainly spread diseases? Maybe then birds would have not been the answer because birds does not mainly spread diseases, or rain does not mainly spread diseases. Dust blowing, obviously, wind blowing is obviously there. So when the word mainly comes, maybe all 4 will not be the answer. But since the word mainly is not there, how can we say that not even 0.1% diseases is not spread by dust, birds, rain, and wind blowing, right? So that's the basic logic you have to use, right? Now, moving on to the next topic here, the use of the word some. Now, when the word some comes, how should you think? Some tribal people in India use Niger oil for cooking. Can UPSC say that not even a single tribal people does not use Niger oil? UPSC can never say that, right? At least single tribal people will be there in India which uses Niger cooking oil. What about these? What about these? Some species of turtles are herbivorous. Some species, at least thousands of species of snakes, marine animals, and fishes and turtles are there, right? At least one will be herbivorous. At least one will be there, one will be there, one will be there, right? Some people who fled from South Sudan still live in Bidi. Can you please say that not even a single person who fled from South Sudan live in Bidi? It's not possible for them to say, right? So therefore here, 2 will definitely be correct, right? So at least 1% will be there. Now, now coming down to the difference between the statements when UPSC introduces the word some. Okay. Now, what is the difference between the statement? Here it says all mammals give birth to offsprings. Now, how do we counter the same? First of all is an extreme word, right? Whenever the word all comes, if we get even one exemption to the same, okay, if we get one exemption to counter the same, we can say that not all mammals give birth to offsprings. There is a mammal called platypus, and platypus is a mammal which does not give birth, it lay eggs. So when the word all comes, all you have to find is a single exemption in order to make the statement incorrect, right? Everyone clear? When the word all comes, you just have to find a single exemption. And out of the million mammals out there, at least one will not be giving birth. What if the word some come here? Some mammals give birth to offsprings. Obviously, mammals give birth to offsprings, right? So some will be there. Now, what about this statement here? Is it correct or incorrect? The question I am marking up right now, some mammals give birth to offsprings. Is it correct or incorrect? It is correct for the fact that when the word some comes, even if a million mammal give birth to offsprings, even if at least a single mammal is there which lay eggs, the word some will be satisfied. That's the reason why whenever the word some comes, always or possibly 100% of the times, it will be correct. Okay, so that's the logic here. At least one will be there, one will be there, one will be there, one will be there. Right. Some Himalayan forest, right? Some, always right. Now, moving on to the next topic here, application-based questions. Now, in science and technology, usually we have this habit of taking all the applications as correct. Now, let me tell you, that is not a bad logic or something, but UPSC logic is getting harder and harder every year. Let's say, for example, in 2024, 2 application questions, all the above were now correct. With respect to X-ray based question, radar based question, X-ray baggage scanner was the answer. So one statement was correct. With respect to the hydrogel wala question, only one was the answer and 2 options were incorrect. So you can't just blindly take application based questions as all the above right now. You need to dive deeper into the same. You need to know the characteristics of the technology in order to answer the question. But in case if you don't have any idea, क्या करना है? All the above ले लो. ठीक है, इसमें कोई issue नहीं है. So in case of application-based questions, the basic logic is 1% logic can be applied. So therefore here, there is a high chance that all of the above can be correct, but always check the applicability of the technology. Okay, this is the one countering possibility here. First of all, check the applicability of the technology. If the technology blatantly goes against the basic characteristics which is given in the question, it should be taken as incorrect. And the second one is, in case when 4 statements are asked, okay, one of them will be incorrect. I'll show you the examples regarding the same. Now here, already explains can. Now, whenever the word can comes, what is the logic here? You think about future approach, right? Already explains can be fabricated in the future, or already displays can be made using alreadys. Maybe in the future, yes. SaaS customers can customize, all of them say it. Biofilms can form. Can UPSC say that not even 0.1% it cannot form? Can form, maybe 0.1%. Can, maybe at least 0.1%. Fingerprint is used. All these are correct. 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 Everything is correct here. But let me tell you, there are certain assumptions. Okay, so don't just blindly go with the applications. But the basic logic is, you think about the future terms. You think about whether how can UPSC say that 0.001% they will be not applicable. Okay. But certain exemptions are there. For example, this question, near field communication. The NFC is designed for use by devices which can be at a distance of even a meter. Now, what is NFC? NFC is actually near field communication. NFC, you might have seen the card, right? NFC, basically you tap. Now, in case of tapping debit card and credit card, NFC is used. So do you think that 1 meter, at even a distance of 1 meter, let's say for example, a card reader is here, point of sale machine is here, 1 meter se aap tap kar sakte hain? It's impossible, right? So therefore here, this statement is incorrect. So here the application question became incorrect. And here, how many of the above are radar activities rules? First statement was incorrect because what is the basic function of a radar? Radar basically, it goes, hits an object and it goes back. So in case of identification of narcotics, we have to see inside a bag, right? Radar will not help you to see inside of a bag. So therefore, this is mostly X-ray based carriages are used. So therefore, 1 is incorrect here. So only 2 is the answer here. Hydrogel question pe, I mean, all of us expected the answer to be 1, 2, 3, but for be UPSC answer key. Okay, UPSC answer key. In case of UPSC answer key, 1 only was the answer. But in this question, no need to overthink regarding something, because hydrogel is not something which we have, which we know what is it. So therefore, better to go with 1, 2, 3 only. Okay. Now, what about this one? This is one thing that I want to say to you. What is the answer? All of you can say. Aerosols, foam agents, fire retardants, and lubricants. What was the UPSC answer? The UPSC answer was C. Now, one thing you have to always check is, what is hydrofluorocarbon? It's mostly a gas, right? HFC is mostly a gas. And when you group the same, aerosol is a gas here. Foam agent is a gas here. Fire retardant is a gas here. Is lubricant a gas here? Is lubricant a gas? No. Lubricants are not gases. Okay. So when you actually group the same, 1, 2, 3 is something that you can group together. And 4 is not something that you can group together. That's why it became incorrect. So what I'm saying here is, whenever the application-based question comes, don't blindly go and take all 4 as the answer, or all 3 as the answer. Let's say, for example, 2025. In how many of the above can coal gasification technology be used? The first option was urea, second option was nitroglycerin, and the third option was ethanol. And the answer, according to UPSC answer key, as all of us expected as well, the answer was only 2. Now, why do you think nitroglycerin was not the answer? The first 2 options are very general, right? Urea and ethanol. So why do you think UPSC provided a very specific option such as nitroglycerin? If UPSC wanted to make it correct, they could have provided something such as maybe something which we often hear about, right? Why do you think UPSC provided a very specific option? Because UPSC knows that nitroglycerin coal gasification is not used, right? That's why UPSC provided that option. Okay. So always be very, don't just blindly take all the above as the answer. UPSC's logic is changing a bit. First of all, check whether the characteristics of the particular technology, if it goes against the characteristics, then don't take all the above. go for grouping as well. In case all the above are solid and one thing is liquid as something, then maybe all the above may not be the answer. These are the two things you have to keep in mind when you attempt the application-based question. And also one more thing, whenever 4 big statements come, okay, let me tell you, these are not 4 big statements. These are just simple words. But whenever 4 big statements come, and then a technology-based question come, or an application-based question come, all the above has never been the answer. Okay, whenever 4 big statements come, and then application is asked, all the above may not be the answer. All the above has never been the answer in the last 15 years. Okay, because what we believe is UPSC takes a lot of effort in making such options, and a normal aspirant will be making all the above as the correct. And I believe that UPSC is being a bit sadistic here, so they don't want the student to get the answer. Okay, so here all the above may not be the answer. I can show you n number of examples, but I think I have not. Yeah, in all the cases, all the above has not been the answer. At least like 10 to 15 examples I can show you. Okay, this is not applicable to simple words. These are simple words. Only in case of big sentences, all the above may not be the answer. Okay. Now, so in case of application-based questions, check the applicability and characteristics of the technology. If you don't know anything regarding the same, let's say, for example, hydrogel, for example, biofilms, for example, anything else, go with all the above. Don't overthink or something, but think these 4 aspects, whether the technology is possible, whether the grouping is possible here, and whether when 4 big statements come, maybe all the above may not be the answer. These are 3 things you have to check when any application-based question comes. Okay. Now, moving on to the next logic here, we'll be talking about the specific statements. Okay, so regarding general statements, what do you have to think? 3 different logics: geographical approach, quantity approach, and future-based approach. In all the cases, you can apply this here. But how does UPSC eliminate the same? UPSC introduces certain extreme words, such as mainly, primarily, significantly, lethally, or everything. In such cases, we cannot apply the 1% logic. In case of application questions as well, we can go with the 1% logic. Only in 3 exemptions, we should not be applying the same. Whenever grouping happens, whenever 4 big statement happens, and when the basic technology goes against what is given in the question. Okay. Now, moving on to the specific questions, specific statements. Now, what is a specific statement? Specific statement is something where the facts are there, right? Mahatma Gandhi was born in the state of Maharashtra. So Maharashtra is a fact here. You know that Mahatma Gandhi was born in Gujarat. So what do? You counter the same with a better alternative. Okay, so always remember, how do you counter? You counter the same by using a better alternative. If you are able to find a better alternative, then you counter the same. If no better alternative is there, and if you're not able to counter the same, then what do? You take things as correct. Okay, so whenever a fact is there, you try to counter the same by using another fact. Gandhi was not born in Maharashtra, he was born in Gujarat. If you're not able to counter the same, then you treat it positive. Always treat statements as positive if you don't have any idea regarding the same. Okay, I'll give you n number of examples in order to for you to get better understanding regarding the same. Okay, certain exemptions are there. For example, contemporaries, constitution, legally binding. So different exemptions are also there, which we will be discussing here. Okay. Now, what are specific statements? Let's say, for example, T-Board's headquarters is in Bangalore. Now, try to counter Bengaluru. First of all, tea is not a famous commodity in Karnataka. So therefore, you can counter the same by using West Bengal, which is the largest producer, Kerala or Assam, right? So therefore, when a specific fact is asked, try to counter the fact by using a better alternative fact. If you're not able to counter the same logically, or if you're not able to counter the same factually, then always treat it as positive. Okay. So specific statements, ministries. It is a flagship scheme of Ministry of Labor and Employment. Try to counter the same. Ministry of Skill and Entrepreneurship can come, right? So here you are able to find counter with a better alternative. So therefore you counter the same. But let's say, for example, in 2025, PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Are you able to counter the statement here? Here also a single fact is there. A fact is there. Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. If not Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, then what can come here? So here, ministry, are you able to counter here? You're not able to counter, right? Because Ministry of Power can come, but this is mostly talking about solar energy, right? So therefore, other than Ministry of Power, the better ministry would be the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, right? So therefore, here, what do you have to do? You're not able to counter the same, so therefore take it correct. So don't just blindly take ministries and something as incorrect. Okay. Always think whether you are able to counter the same. If countering possibility exists, then only you counter, or else treat it as positive. Okay. Specific statements, UNEP, UNESCO will be dealing with all these. They live in the state of Uttarakhand, home guards, may not be central government, maybe state governments. Okay, this is something that we don't have to do. Now, the next logic is, we'll be diving with respect to specific statements once again. Now, what should you do whenever UPSC asks you to identify what is correct? Now, my question here is, what type of statements are correct? Is the general statements correct? Or the specific statements which will be correct? What do you think, everyone? Will it be the general statement or the specific statement? General statement will be correct, right? Because general statements does not have any facts, so therefore you are not able to counter the same. So therefore, general statements will be correct. So here, Sangam points are devoid of any material. Any is an extreme word here. Sangam points have no reference to warrior ethic. Do you think the Sangam literature, which was written in close to 200 BC, will say magical forces irrational? Definitely not, right? So therefore here, the social classification of Varna was not to Sangam points. It's more of a general statement here. So therefore, this will be correct, right? Now, the second question is, what should you do when incorrect statements are asked? Should you go with the general statement or the specific statement? When incorrect statements are asked, we should be going with the specific statements, right? When incorrect statements are asked, for the fact that incorrect specific statements has a lot of facts, and therefore that has more likely to be incorrect, right? So Tansen invented many ragas. Maybe at least one will be incorrect. Tansen, sorry, at least one raga will be there. Composed songs, at least one songs. Tansen is a Hindu, therefore he must have composed the books. Tansen was the title given by Akbar. There are two facts here. Maybe not Tansen, maybe Mian, maybe not Akbar, maybe some other person, right? So whenever incorrect is asked, go with that statement which has more number of facts or extreme words, right? Now, the basic question here is, what should you do when in a statement only a single fact is there? This is a basic thing. This is a best thing. What should you do only in a statement a single fact is there? The basic thing that you have to understand is, first of all, think whether UPSC wants you to know the same. Okay, let's say for example, Mahatma Gandhi's grandfather's father was Uttam Chand Gandhi. Let's take a hypothetical statement here. Do you think UPSC want you to know this? Mahatma Gandhi's grandfather's grandfather was now known as Uttam Chand Gandhi. Do you expect UPSC to know this? No. So what do? If only a single fact is given, then you try to factually counter the same. You don't know that whether it's Uttam Chandi or any other Gandhi. Now what do? You try to apply some logic here. Are you able to eliminate Uttam Chand Gandhi? Gandhi is there. So maybe you are not able to eliminate. What if UPSC provides a statement such as Gandhiji's grandfather was Narayana? Then you can say that Narayanan is mostly, my grandfather's name is Narayana. That's why I provided here. Maybe you can say that, okay, grandfather, Narayan is mostly a South Indian term. So therefore, Gandhiji's grandfather will not be known as Narayana. Right. So therefore, you are able to logically counter the same. So what do you do when a single fact question is given? First and basic thing is, think whether UPSC wants you to know the same. Okay. If UPSC expect you to know the fact, if it is given in NCERT, if it was there in current affairs and everything, then UPSC can counter it. Gandhiji was born in the state of Maharashtra. UPSC expect you to know this, right? So UPSC can counter it, but it doesn't mean that UPSC will always counter the same. If you are able to counter either by logically or factually, you treat it as incorrect. Okay. Now the second question here is, what if UPSC does not want you to know the same? Then what do? You are not able to counter the same factually. Then you apply some kind of logic. Narayanan will never be Gandhiji's grandfather name. So if you are not able to counter the same, treat it positive. Okay. Always think whether UPSC wants you to know the same. If UPSC want you to know, then UPSC may counter it or can counter it. But if you are not able to find the better alternative here, treat it positive. The same thing goes for this one as well. If UPSC does not want you to know the same, apply some logic. Even if logically as well you are not able to counter the same, treat it positive. Okay, everyone. Always remember, when a single fact question is given, the first and the basic logic is whether UPSC wants you to know the same. No. Then you apply some logic. अगर logic भी काम नहीं कर रहे तो treat it positive. Whenever UPSC want you to know something, UPSC can counter it, but if you are not able to counter the same, treat it positive. Always remember, the final and the end product will be positive. Okay, only if you are able to counter the same, then you should be treating it as negative. Okay. Now, let me tell you, in this question, what does UPSC want you to know? One of the statement will be incorrect here. What statement do you think UPSC will counter here? What do you think UPSC expect you to know here? The first statement is something that UPSC expect you to know, right? Other facts, I mean, a UPSC aspirant does not need to dive witness or deeper with respect to an exercise Mitra Shakti, right? So therefore here, even if you don't know the same, the famous options will be something that UPSC wants you to know. So therefore here, 2, 3, 4 will be the answer. Okay. Now, what do you think? Do you think UPSC will counter this one? Pursuant to the report of H.N. Sanyal Committee, the Contempt of Court Act was passed. Do you think UPSC expect you to know the same? No. So therefore, what should you do? You should be taking this as positive, because if you need to know the committee of all the other different persons, you must be studying the name of at least 100 committees, right? It's not possible for you. So therefore, you should be taking it as correct. What about this one? Does UPSC expect you to know the name of all the bricks work, all the rating agencies in the world? No, right? So what should you do? You should be taking this as positive. Now, in this question, let me ask you, what do you think UPSC will counter here? So what have you understood? UPSC usually eliminates those statements which UPSC expect you to know, or the famous options, right? So इस पे क्या counter करेगा? 1 and 3 will be something that UPSC will be countering. So therefore, the other two things you can take it as positive, right? I mean, only 2 was the answer here. Devi Chandra Gupta and Milinda Panha is what UPSC countered here. Okay. So take questions as positive. There are certain exemptions, ministries, locations, contemporaries, and everything which we will discuss. If you can factually or logically eliminate the statement, then treat the statement as incorrect. If you're not able to counter the statement, take things as positive. Okay, this is a very basic thing. Now, this is not something you need to know. Now, the basic thing why we take statements as positive is that when you actually check all the last 10 to 15 years, and when you dive deeper into the same, you will understand that close to 60% of the times UPSC have taken statements as incorrect, taken as correct, close to 60% of the statements. That's the reason why, if you don't know anything, we should always be taking the statements as positive. Okay. Now, in this question, our logic went wrong, because here Lake Tangayanika is something that UPSC expects us to know. Tonle Sap and Lagoon is not something very famous. So what I thought is, when I first saw the question, the answer will either be only 2 or only 3. Because only Tangayanika is something that UPSC expects us to know. And Tonle Sap and Lagoon, UPSC does not want us to know. So therefore, UPSC will not eliminate the same. But here the logic went wrong, and none was the answer in 2025. Okay. So it's not that always the positive works. In certain cases, the positive logic can go wrong. But always remember, if you don't know something, if you feel that UPSC does not want you to know the same, take things as positive. Okay. Even this as well, this is one of the most stupid questions of 2025. UPSC basically countered Indian men. I mean, they changed the data here, right? Okay. Okay. Now, moving on to the second thing. So here, we have mostly discussed about, here we have mostly discussed about what to do when a single statement is given or a single fact is given. Now, what do you think when multiple facts are given? What happens when a multiple fact is given? So single fact, either it will be correct or incorrect, right? So it has a percentage of 50-50 probability. But what happens when multiple facts are given? 2 facts have to be correct. And for the statement to become incorrect, either one of the facts have to be incorrect. So here, the probability of the statement being correct reduces, right? Because both the statements have to be correct. That's why, if you don't know anything regarding the same, and if multiple facts are given, you should be taking it as incorrect. Okay. Single statement single fact the probability is 50-50%. Either it can be correct or incorrect. But in multiple facts, both the statements have to be correct. So therefore, the probability reduces. That's why multiple facts पे you usually take this as incorrect. But what are multiple facts? Multiple facts does not mean that each and every fact you take as multiple fact. Okay. Multiple facts only are related to three things. You need to note down the same. Only with respect to places or locations, only with respect to ministries or departments, only with respect to international organizations, you should be taking it as a multiple fact. Okay, three things: locations, ministries or departments, and international organizations. Okay, only in these three cases we should be taking it as a multiple fact, and don't randomly take things as multiple fact. Here है और दो डाटा है, ऐसे कुछ नहीं चलेगा. ठीक है, only with respect to locations, ministries, and international organizations you should be taking it as a multiple fact. So here multiple facts नहीं है. Treasury bills are there, government of India bonds are there. It's not a multiple fact. Negotiated, it has to be a government securities platform. It has to be at Reserve Bank of India, not a multiple fact. But what about this one? The CDSL is jointly promoted by Reserve Bank of India and Bombay Stock Exchange. Here it is a multiple fact because two organizations are given. But let me tell you, don't blindly take things as multiple fact, okay? First of all, check whether two will come together. I mean, why would Reserve Bank of India and Bombay Stock Exchange will come together? Right, there is no logic regarding the same. So better would be SEBI and Reserve Bank, SEBI and Bombay Stock Exchange coming together, right? Because CDSL is a money capital market instrument. So therefore here two will be incorrect. So what are the three things? Organizations, departments, locations. Only these three things you should be treating it as a multiple fact, okay? So multiple fact, multiple fact, multiple fact, multiple fact, multiple fact. Now there are two things in which the multiple fact logic will not apply. And the two things are when one will obviously be there. Let's say, for example, in Quality Council of India question, the Quality Council of India was set up jointly by Government of India and the Indian industry. Should we take this as a multiple fact? Because Government of India will obviously be there in Quality Council of India, right? Because the chairman is appointed by Prime Minister. So do you think that the Government of India will not be there? Quality Council pay, obviously it would have been set up by the Government of India, right? So the only fact here is whether Indian industry was involved or it was some other organization. So when one of the options become very obvious, you should not be taking it as a multiple fact. Okay, let's say for example this question. With respect to G20 Common Framework, it is an initiative endorsed by G20 along with Paris Club. Should we take this as a multiple fact? You should not be taking this as a multiple fact for the fact that G20 Common Framework page, G20 will obviously be there, right? So the fact is whether Paris Club will not be there or not. So therefore here, should it treat it as a multiple fact? No, it's a single fact. So these are the different things that you have to always keep in mind, okay? So do not treat blindly as multiple facts. In case when factual and other techniques are exhausted, statements will be incorrect for the fact that 50% chance for a statement to be correct in case of single statements. Multiple fact reduces the chance of being incorrect only with respect to three things. The one is location, ministries, and departments and international organizations. Okay, and there are one exemption as well. When one is obvious that it will be there, you should not be taking this as a multiple fact. It should be taken as a single fact only. Okay. Now, moving on to the next logic here is the logic of extremes, and this is the most important logic of all. Okay. Now, I have divided the same into level 1 and level 2. Now, the level 1 logic will be very basic thing. All, every, none, always, only, no. And the level 2 will be extreme words in the headings and the statements. Okay. So here, the level 1 logic will be all of the statements, whenever these type of words are introduced. All, every, none, no, only. Here, all the things have to be correct, right? There should not be even a single exemption, right? There should not be even a single exemption. So even if a single exemption is there, then the statement becomes incorrect, right? This is a basic thing. So let's say, for example, all mammals give birth to offsprings. Okay. So can you say that there is not even a single mammal in the world which does not give birth to offspring? Platypus will be there, right? So whenever the word all come, no come, none come, everything come, if you're able to find a single exemption, then it will be incorrect, right? So even the same logic you have to apply here. Okay, geography के बारे में सोचो, quantity के बारे में सोचो और future के बारे में सोचो. The same logic applies to when every. Can UPSC say that all of them is there? Can UPSC say that everything is there? Can UPSC say that none of them is there? Can UPSC say that none of them is there? So the basic logic, quantity, geography, and future-based approach you have to apply with respect to all these extreme statements as well, right? It is the only circular temple in India. Can UPSC say that no other single temple is there with respect to which is not circular? At least one temple will be there in India, right? The process of algae-based fuels is possible in seas only. Can UPSC say that it's not available in lakes? It's not possible in rivers? Obviously, it will be there, right? So it has been entirely made of silicon and has high optical transparency. Can UPSC say that not even a single 0.0001% of no other element is there? Entirely made of silicon? Obviously, it will be incorrect, right? So basically, go with the 1% logic, single gram, and everything, okay? Monazite occurs naturally in the entire coastal sand of India. I mean, I come from Kannur, Kerala, and I have beaches in Kannur. We have beaches in Kannur, but monazite sands are not found in the beaches of Kannur. So therefore, here from in Kerala, Kerala is there definitely. Kollam is the largest producer of monazite sands. Andhra Pradesh is the largest producer, but in case of region, we usually say Kollam in Kerala. So entirely all the beaches throughout the country? No, right? There will be at least one beaches which does not have monazite, right? So the same logic, right? Probiotics are found in every, but they do not naturally occur. Can UPSC say that not even 0.1% of probiotics is not there in our gut? Obviously not, right? So the same logic here. So, but let me tell you, do not blindly take things, okay? Let's say, for example, fundamental duties are applicable to all citizens. Can you tell any citizens in which the fundamental duties are not applicable? Adani ko nahi hai, Ambani ko nahi hai, aisa kuch bhi nahi, right? A money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. Can you say that it's introduced in Rajya Sabha? No. All revenues received by the accredited consolidated fund? Yes. Estimates committee members of only Lok Sabha. So don't just blindly take things as correct. If it's a more of a factual question, then UPSC can take it positive as well. But if you don't have any idea regarding the same, you should be taking this as incorrect only. Okay. Now, this is the most important thing, and this is the most important thing for the fact that what you have to think is always think about the spectrum. And I'll go a bit slow here. Always think about the spectrum. Now, what the spectrum means? I'll tell you. Firstly, I'll tell you what you have to do. When the spectrum is bigger, all would be incorrect. When the spectrum is smaller, all of it can be correct. Now, let's say I'm saying Venus is the only planet in the solar system that spins from left to right. Venus is the only planet in the solar system which spins from left to right. Should you take only as a very extreme word here? Venus is the only planet which spins from left to right. Is the statement correct or incorrect? Okay, tell me. Venus is the only planet which spins from left to right. What I'm saying is this will be correct because hardly 8 planets are there in the ecosystem, in the solar system, right? Out of that, Venus can be the only planet which spins from left to right. So what happened here? Here the spectrum is very less. Only like 8 planets are there. So out of the 8 planets, Venus can be the only planet. In 2024, there was a question such as, not exactly the same meaning, but I'll reframe the question for you. Cheetah is the only major cat which does not roar. Cheetah is the only major cat which does not roar. Now, what do you think? Is the statement correct or incorrect here? Cheetah is the only major cat which does not roar. Then the statement becomes correct, right? Now, I'll frame the two questions in a different manner now. Venus is the only planet in the entire solar system which spins from left to right. Now, what about now? Venus is the only planet which spins from left to right in the entire solar system. Sorry, entire Milky Way, entire universe. It will be incorrect. Cheetah is the only cat which does not roar. I have taken the word major there. Is the statement correct or incorrect now? The statement will be incorrect, right? So always remember, don't blindly take things as incorrect, correct on. Okay? Think about the spectrum. Spectrum is the most important thing. If the spectrum is very high, okay, if the spectrum is very high, then it will be incorrect. If the spectrum is very less, then it can be correct. Okay. Clear, everyone? This is the most important thing, okay? Let's say, for example, how many of the above species are poisonous? Okay, how many of the above species are poisonous? Rat snake, butterflies, frogs. What do you think will the answer be? Rat, snake, butterflies, frog. How many of the above species are poisonous? How will all three come? Rat, snake does not have poison, right? Only two. Because rat snake is about a single species. So you cannot use your one-person logic here. Now, if I change the question, snakes, butterflies, and frogs. So therefore, there will be millions of species of snakes. I mean, snakes are usually poisonous, but for me, I'm saying there will be millions of species of snakes. And out of that, at least one will be poisonous, right? So the spectrum is very broader. Yes, is oceanic, okay? So don't blindly take things as correct. So all whales breathe using lungs. And sorry, okay, this is not, you don't have to go through here. So what I'm saying here is spectrum is the most important thing. Okay. And the other thing you have to understand is the use of protective words. These are some of the protective words that UPSC uses in order, if UPSC uses these protective words, then we cannot apply our one-person logic. Okay. When UPSC introduces, these are the words which I call protective here. Usually, generally, primarily, mainly. So whenever UPSC provides these extreme words, we can never take our one-person logic. Clear? I'll show you certain examples. Now, let's say, for example, here, all mammals give birth to offsprings. This is incorrect because we know that platypus is a mammal. Now, what about these four statements? Generally, all mammals give birth to offsprings. Is the statement correct or incorrect now? Generally, all mammals give birth to offsprings. Now, is the statement correct or incorrect? It's correct. Usually, all mammals gives birth to offsprings. It's correct. Mammals mainly give birth to offsprings. It's correct, right? Mammals primarily give birth to offsprings. This is also correct, right? Now, what if I change it in the sense, usually, generally, all mammals lay eggs. Now, is the statement correct or incorrect? Generally, all mammals lay eggs. This is incorrect. Some mammals lay eggs. This is positive. So this is how you have to think, okay? So always think about these different things. UPSC or the logic that usually what we find in all the academies, be it MAD, be it all the other academies out there throughout India, they have taken, how should I put it? All the logics have different layers, different assumptions you have to understand. So you cannot blindly take anything as a word point. Ministries are there, hata do. Extremes are there, usually is there, generally is there, hata do. No, it always depends upon the meaning of the statement. And this is what you have to perfect. Okay. So let's say, for example, generally mammals lay eggs. This is incorrect because generally mammals does not lay. Mammals primarily lay eggs. No, this is incorrect. Okay. So just don't be very blind regarding all these different words. Understand the meaning of the statement, and then you have to go with the same. Okay. See, do we have time to actually discuss all this? Okay. See, I don't think we have the time to discuss all this. Okay. We'll just discuss the level 2 wala some of the logics as well, and after that we can wind up the session. Okay. So here, what does level 2 mean? Level 2, we are going to dive a bit more deeper into the same. So here we'll be discussing about the extreme words introduced in the headings and the sentences as well. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Now, whenever the word, so here UPSC have introduced a heading necessarily in the heading, right? So the effect of devaluation of a currency is that it necessarily. Can you use your 1% logic here and say that, okay, fine, maybe 1% it will improve the trade balance? Can you apply the logic here? When the word necessarily comes, can you apply the 1% logic here? No, because it has to 100% improve the trade balance. Do you think that devaluation of currency will necessarily lead to imbalance? What if North Korea devalues it and North Korea does not export anything? So it will not improve the trade balance, it reduces, right? And the second one is what to do when UPSC introduces the statement, extreme words in the statement. These are the two things which we'll be discussing now. Okay. So the basic thing you have to understand is extreme words, why does UPSC introduces? It's to basically eliminate the 1% logic or the burden of proof that UPSC have. Used in headings, why do UPC use it? Maybe to eliminate at least one of the option. Okay. Analyze why certain words are understood. Analyze why certain words are understood. Words are used, and every word has a specific purpose. Okay. So different types of words. You can see here that widespread called mortality will occur. All the general thing will be there. And UPSC introduces extreme words such as active volunteer participation, active volunteer, drastic decrease, powerful merchant guilds, earliest Dharmashastras. Now, why do you think UPSC introduced all this here? Machines were introduced in India in large numbers, not in large numbers in the first half, right? From 1800 to 1850. It's not possible. Railway lines were paid in many parts of the country. Were railway lines paid in many parts of the country in the first half from 1800 to 1850? Definitely no. Heavy duties were introduced? No. So all these statements are correct, incorrect, and therefore general statement was the answer. So UPSC introduces all these extreme words. It's not that all primarily, mainly, and everything. Large, many, heavy, significantly, सब कुछ extreme words है, ठीक है? Totally absent, devoid of any, no reference, capitals of powerful kingdoms, place of exquisite stone art and architecture, important Buddhist sites. Now, why did UPSC introduce all this? Because if it was a powerful kingdom, we would have heard about the same. And Kandashala Katirashawli is not powerful. If it was exquisite, we would have heard about the same, and they are not. Kandashala Katirashawli is not exquisite. If it was important Buddhist pilgrimage site, we would have heard about the same. If it was just Buddhist pilgrimage site, we would have heard about the same. If it was just exquisite, if it was just stone and architecture, we would have not heard about the same. It was just capitals of our powerful kingdoms. Now, do you know about the kingdoms in Kerala, right? No. So therefore here, maybe this would have been correct. So that's why in order to make our elimination very easy, UPSC have introduced all these. Okay. Yeah, so this is what you have to understand. UPSC introduces all these in order to make the statements incorrect. Okay, so okay, now let me tell you the basic difference regarding the same. This is the most important thing here. Okay, whenever UPSC introduces certain extreme words, you should not be blindly taking things as incorrect. Okay, the first and basic thing you have to understand is you have to understand the relationship between the same. Okay, so let's say for example, red sanders. You know that red sanders grow in tropical dry deciduous forest. Okay, so therefore is the second statement correct here? This is correct. And here I have introduced the statement mainly. So you know that red sanders grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. And do you think by introducing the word mainly here, does it make any difference? You know that two things have direct relation here. And then UPSC introduces the word mainly. Does it make any difference? No. This statement is correct, right? Both the statements are correct. Now, if I say that red sanders, I have changed it to temperate dry deciduous forest. Okay. Is there any relation between red sanders and temperate dry deciduous forest? No. But can UPSC say that not even 0.001, not even a single red sander is not there in temperate dry deciduous forest? Okay, it grows in temperate dry deciduous forest. Maybe it grows in temperate dry deciduous forest. Can UPSC say that the red sander does not grow in temperate dry deciduous forest? It's impossible for UPSC to say the same, right? So even if you don't have a direct relation between the same, you can apply your 1% logic here. Now, how do UPSC eliminate the same? What have we introduced? UPSC introduces an extreme word here, right? Now, is the statement here correct or incorrect? Red sanders here, it grows in temperate dry deciduous. And I have introduced the word mainly here. So does it mainly grow in temperate dry deciduous forest? No. So therefore, what happens here? Now the statement becomes incorrect, right? So what do you understand? When two things are there, okay, when two things are there, and if you have a direct relationship between the same, and then UPSC introduces extreme words, it does not make any impact whatsoever. But if two things are not there, sorry, if two things where direct relationship is not there, and then why does UPSC introduces extreme words? In order to eliminate our 1% logic. Clear? When two things are there, which does not have a direct relation, here red sanders and temperate deciduous forest does not have a direct relation, and UPSC wants to make it incorrect. If UPSC provides such a statement, without any extreme word, we can apply our 1% logic. Maybe a single tree will be there. But how does UPSC eliminate the same? UPSC goes with the word mainly and makes it incorrect. So what do you understand? When two statements have a direct relation, even if UPSC introduces the word mainly, primarily, it does not make any difference. When two words, you don't have a direct relation, but फिर भी आपकी 1% logic इस पे डाल सकता है. So how does UPSC eliminate the same? UPSC applies certain extreme words such as mainly, primarily. Right. So let's understand the basic difference. I'll show you two more examples. So high clouds primarily reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. What does that mean? It's not the high clouds which primarily reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. It's basically the low clouds which primarily reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Therefore, this statement is incorrect. But if I remove the word primarily here, in the second one, is it correct or incorrect? Can UPSC say that high clouds does not reflect even 1% of the solar radiation and does not cool the surface of the earth? No. So at least 1% will be there, right? So I'll show you one more example regarding the same. Okay, so what is the basic thing you have to understand? That's what I'm saying. All this session, for someone who's new to this session, everything will seem as you will only be getting the partial knowledge regarding the same. Okay. So if you know that there is a direct relationship between the same, then the extreme words does not matter. Okay. But if you don't have a direct relationship between the same, then what does UPSC do? UPSC introduces certain extreme words in order to make it correct, make it incorrect. Okay. So if you know that direct relationship is there, and then extreme words are introduced, it does not matter. But if there is no direct relationship between the there, then our 1% logic can be applied. To eliminate our 1% logic, UPSC will introduce the extreme word. Now try this question. So for example, in here, what would happen if a phytoplankton of an ocean is completely destroyed for some reason? So is there any relation between phytoplankton and a carbon sink? Yes. So the ocean as a carbon sink would be adversely affected? Yes, it would be adversely affected, right? Because phytoplankton and a carbon sink has a direct relation here. The food chain in the ocean will be adversely affected? Yes. Phytoplankton and food chain in the ocean has a direct relation. So therefore, it will be adversely affected, right? Now, is there any relation between phytoplankton and density of an ocean water? Is there any relation between density of the ocean and phytoplankton? No. But now this statement was incorrect because density of the ocean water and the phytoplankton does not have a direct relation. And UPSC have introduced the word drastically in order to eliminate our 1% logic. That is why this statement was incorrect. But what if I remove the word drastically from here? Now is the statement correct or incorrect? Can UPSC say that there is not even 0.001% of the ocean water will decrease? This will be correct, right? So that's the difference, okay? So whenever you have a direct relation between the same and then extreme words are induced such as adversely affected, it does not make any impact. But if you are not able to establish a direct relation between the same, such as phytoplankton and density of the ocean water, and then UPSC introduces drastically, then the statement will be incorrect. ऐसे सोच सकते, ठीक है? So extreme words in headings, we have already talked about the same. Actively associated, immensely dried up. Why did UPSC introduce the word mainly here? In order to eliminate one of the options. So when the word mainly comes, we cannot apply a 1% logic. So therefore, one of the above may be incorrect. Why did UPSC introduce the word effectively here? Because we cannot apply a 1% logic here. Why did UPSC introduce the word national policy on biofuels? According to national policy on biofuels, why did UPSC introduce here? If UPSC wanted to make it correct, UPSC could have just said that which of the following can be used as raw materials for the production of biofuels, right? And we can go with the 1% logic here. But do you think that in the national policy on biofuels, house gram and groundnut seeds will be mentioned? No, right? They will never mention in the national policy on biofuels, right? So that's why here two options were incorrect and 1, 2, 5, 6 was the answer. Okay, so what I'm saying here is understand why each and every word is introduced. Of course, we cannot take the entire session here. I don't think we'll have the time because already it's close to 1 hour. So what I'm saying here is, I'll just quickly summarize the same. So understand why UPSC introduces each and every words. I mean, you must have already been trained in the elimination techniques. Okay, different techniques such as ABB is the other techniques, word deconstruction, identical statements, then all the steadily increase all these different techniques will be there. What I'm saying here is, don't blindly go with them. There are deeper layers in which you have to understand whether there is a spectrum is there. Why did UPSC introduce the word nitroglycerin? UPSC could have introduced certain very general options. So don't blindly go with all the elimination techniques which you have understood, and dive a bit deeper. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Try to do the PYQs from 2023 to 2025 in the next 3 days, and try to understand why UPSC introduces each and every word. Okay, so why did UPSC introduce the word 5% here? Or why did UPSC introduce the word most widespread tool here? Why did UPSC introduces very different things? Because, so for example, if UPSC in 2025 introduced the word 5% here, right? So studies indicate that carbon dioxide emissions from cement manufacturing account for 5%. So can you say that? So here, what is the reason that we are looking for? It should be that all the statements 2 and 3 should be the reason that cement industry is emitting close to 5% of the global carbon emission. Right. So it has to be the reason that cement manufacturing is releasing close to 5% of the global carbon emission. So can you apply our 1% logic here and say that, okay, fine, silica bearing clay is mixed with limestone while manufacturing cement. Okay, maybe they will release 0.001% of carbon dioxide. But is it the reason that, okay, even if they release 0.1% of carbon dioxide, is it the reason why carbon dioxide emissions contribute from cement industry contributes to 5%? No, you cannot use your 1% logic here, right? So there is a reason why UPSC introduced the word 5% here. So understand all this, okay, when you actually do the PYQs, and don't just blindly follow certain logics you can blindly follow, but there are different layers to the same. So that's why analyze what the statement means and don't blindly go with only, all, and everything. Okay. So, okay, what about this one? So I'll just take one more question. Green hydrogen is expected to play a significant role. Now, should you take, okay, fine, UPSC have introduced the word significant role here. So therefore here, UPSC could have randomly introduced the role. Why did they introduce significant role and take it incorrect? No. Green hydrogen is expected to play. Now, what does expected to play mean? Expected to play means in the future. Now, can UPSC say that future pay green hydrogen will not play a significant role after 2000 years in decarbonizing fertilizer plants, in decarbonizing oil refineries, in decarbonizing steel plants? Can UPSC say that? No, right? Definitely no, right? So it's all about understanding the meaning of the words and not blindly following everything, okay? Significant aa gaya to incorrect hai, only aa gaya. Think about the spectrum. Think about why generally are they being protective here, or are they introduced to eliminate one of the option here? Yes, is optionality. And one more thing, I wish all of you very best for the same. Don't be anxious. And I know all of you must be having, you might be getting fear, you will be very anxious regarding the same. But don't be too anxious. UPSC, itna harder nahi hai. This is what I have understood. So when you actually walk out of the exam hall and then you look into the statements, you might feel that her question is here. So UPSC papers are not very hard. It's just that the pressure and the time management which makes it hard. So if you're able to manage your pressure, especially if you're able to manage your time management, then the pressure will also go away, right? How does the pressure come? अरे मुझे सिर्फ आधा घंटे बाकी है and I have to solve 40 questions. वो टाइम पे है ना pressure आता है. लेकिन आपके पास टाइम है, then pressure नहीं आएगा. So make sure that you attempt the paper in exactly the time management. You should be having every half an hour, you should be having some kind of target. So आप वो target के साथ चले जाओ. ठीक है everyone? So thank you all for joining. I wish you all the very best for the prelims. Yeah. So thank you everyone.